What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Hustle or Stay Basic channel, the Invest or Stay Basic segment. As you can tell in the title, today we are going to take a look at BlackBerry. I got a couple comments on my channel asked me to take a look at the company. Kind of avoided it because I thought it was kind of involved with all that Reddit bubble craze stuff. But you know what? Might as well learn something about the company and take a look. So that is what I'm going to do today. So if you enjoy this video, please like it, subscribe, and let's get into it. So we are talking about BlackBerry, ticker symbol BB, trading today for $12.83 per share with a Canadian market cap of $7.2 billion. The company is up 95% over the last 12 months, but I think like every company is because we're in March and you guys know what happened in March 2020, right? So I kind of wanted to share the 5-year growth, and it doesn't look great. It's been up 21% over the last 5 years, but I'll explain why later in the video. I also want to take some time to kind of reminisce on BlackBerry, the company. You know, this company is no longer a cell phone / hardware company. I personally used to own 3 different types of BlackBerry Bolds. I think I had 2 different types of BlackBerry Torches. You know, drop a comment. Let me know about some of your BlackBerry stories back in the day. I know I say back in the day, but this is like 2005 to 2010. I liked the keyboard, didn't really like the OS, and absolutely hated the battery life. And for those who are watching that might be too young to remember, BlackBerry was a really big company. I actually used to go by RIM, R-I-M, Research in Motion. The stock had a $82 billion US dollar market cap valuation at one point, trading for 228 Canadian dollars per share, which is way higher than what it is doing today. Essentially what happened is the iPhone and other touchscreen phones, you know, HTC, Android, all those different types of providers just killed BlackBerry, but mainly iPhone. iPhone pretty much killed BlackBerry. Okay, so enough of the nostalgia. What do they do today? So the company is widely recognized for its intelligent security software and services and believes that it delivers the broadest set of security capabilities and visibility in the market, covering users, devices, networks, apps, and data. The company leverages its extensive technology portfolio to offer best-in-class security, safety, reliability to enterprise customers in growing segments of IoT, cybersecurity, connected transportation, healthcare, financial services, and government markets. So that's a whole bunch of things there. Don't worry, I will explain it in layman terms for you guys in this video. But basically what they did is they spent the last decade rebranding from a hardware company to a software company. Let's take a very quick look at sales and earnings, and then we'll jump to the different revenue streams. So I think the things that you want to quickly note here is the company did over $1 billion of sales in 2020, and over the last 4 quarters, they just have not been able to turn in positive earnings. I'm going to jump into the revenue streams, and I think that will give you a better flavor of, you know, where they get their sales from and how they do it. So they have 3 revenue streams: BlackBerry Spark, BlackBerry IoT Solutions, and BlackBerry IP licensing. You know, first question is like, what the heck is BlackBerry Spark? What falls under IoT Solutions, and what kind of things do they license? I mean, these tech companies, they'll send you down a goose chase. Don't worry, I also have a little rant at the end of this episode, so I hope you stay tuned for that about tech companies. It's going to be very important for you retail investors. So what the heck is BlackBerry Spark? Let's go take a look. So basically, BlackBerry Spark is BlackBerry's security suite. It's comprised of BlackBerry Cylance, BlackBerry UEM, BlackBerry Dynamics, and BlackBerry Workspaces. I'm just like, oh God, now I got to learn about what each of these things are. Don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you guys in layman terms. We'll start with UEM. This is basically a monitoring dashboard enterprises can use to monitor, you know, company devices, what they're doing, what they're using, what kind of files they're sending over, basically ensuring security and integrity between company devices and companies that allow employees to bring in their own device. BlackBerry Dynamics is basically being able to send a file to another employee securely, emails, keeping your emails safe, keeping your contacts safe, basically enterprise solution for security about files, emails, contacts, stuff on your devices as well. So to summarize, UEM is kind of like monitoring, whereas Dynamics is the actual security or prevention of bad things happening to your files and contacts and stuff on that device. And then Workspaces is basically, to me, I watched a bunch of videos on it, read some random stuff on it. Basically, it looks like a Google Drive thing where employees can upload files, share them securely, give read or edit or view accesses to different types of documents. So I consider it kind of like a Google Drive. Now, I think BlackBerry Cylance is probably the biggest part of BlackBerry Spark. I'm saying BlackBerry a lot. I probably will say it throughout the video. But Cylance, I actually watched an analyst video for Needham's where they had the chief security officer of BlackBerry there, and he said some cool things, so I'm going to share that with you. He said basically bad guys do something and then good guys detect it, and then they got to make a fix for it and share it with other people. And it seems like for every 500,000 pieces of malware created, the good guys are able to create 100,000 lines of code, or what he calls signatures, to kind of prevent this from happening. And he says it's a losing battle. So Cylance kind of helps the good guys in winning that battle. So rather than being in a reactive environment where cybersecurity engineers are creating these signatures or solutions to different types of malware that's incoming all the time, Cylance uses artificial intelligence and big data to understand patterns and kind of look at two different types of malware and be like, hey, this one's different by this line of code or what have you. Like, you can analyze the similarities, and they're able to protect networks, devices, and apps and people through kind of a preventative measure rather than a detective measure. So one cool thing they said is BlackBerry is a prevention company, and a company like McAfee, who used to make antivirus programs, was more of a detective company. So essentially, BlackBerry Spark is a preventative security solution that BlackBerry offers. I hope that was easy to understand. I try my best to make that in layman terms for you. So now we're looking at the second revenue stream, BlackBerry IoT solutions. IoT stands for the Internet of Things. They're comprised of BlackBerry QNX, AtHoc, SecuSuite, Certicom, and Radar. I think the main things that you want to take a look at here, or the main revenue drivers for BlackBerry, is QNX and AtHoc. I have a little blurb here that talks about BlackBerry QNX. BlackBerry QNX delivers a time-tested, real-time operating system, hypervisor, and other embedded software to help make you successful. We are the embedded OS of choice for ventilators, train controls, factory automation systems, medical robots, and more. So as you may have noticed, as you're driving your car, there used to be a lot of hardware in a car, but it's slowly but surely being replaced by software. One of the things they mention here is ventilators. I think about the knobs that you used to turn. Now they're dials on a touchscreen. BlackBerry QNX is the operating system for a lot of automotive manufacturers. As you can see, we got like Ford, we got Honda, Mazda, Acura, Hyundai, a bunch of companies, and it says it is in 175 million vehicles today. So essentially, BlackBerry is providing the software for how all of these items in your car talk to each other and react to A, make your driving experience great, and B, make sure that your car isn't hacked and compromised. This is a big revenue driver for BlackBerry. I'll share the revenue breakdown shortly. But the next thing I want to talk about is BlackBerry AtHoc, which I thought was pretty cool. It's a secure network crisis communication software. And currently, or like in 2018, it helps to protect more than 70% of U.S. government personnel. So, when there's a crisis or something happens, they all get notified and they all use the BlackBerry AtHoc program. First thing that came to my head is like, hey, were they using BlackBerry AtHoc for that, Capitol Hill riot? Pretty interesting there as well. Another cool thing I just want to touch up on is they have BlackBerry Radar. This is to keep track of, tractor trailers, company vehicles, basically, dude, where's my car? You can find out. Kind of reminds me of Find My iPhone, but with a lot more data. Okay, so the third thing we got here is BlackBerry IP licensing. I think the important thing to note here is the company owns approximately 38,000 worldwide patents and applications. And what this team does is they try to monetize this by licensing some of their patents out to different companies. Now, one thing I learned, which was kind of like pulling out my hair while learning this, is BlackBerry reports in a very different manner than most companies. Their year end is February 29th. So 2020 ended around February 29th, 2020. That was their Q4. And today, not today, their last report, which was November 30th, 2020, was actually Q3 2021. So yeah, just pretty confusing, but let's look at the breakdown for the full year 2020. So tons of patent licensing going on in 2020. $328 million came from that. The QNX program, which I mentioned has 175 million cars out there with that in there, brought in about $540 million, along with the other softwares. But I'm assuming the QNX program brings home a big portion of this. And the BlackBerry Silence division, it's funny because they call it Spark in their annual report, and then they're calling it Silence here, which is just a segment of Spark. But either way, they bring in $151 million of revenue. So the breakdown on an annual basis is about 52% IoT, 15% Silence, and 32% patent licensing. I threw in the Q3 2021 numbers here as well, because just to show you what I just do not like seeing in any reports. It's like, just last year you guys were reporting in 3 divisions, and now you want to amalgamate BlackBerry Silence or BlackBerry Spark and IoT together and call it software and services. Like, how am I going to know what the breakdown is now? It's not apples to apples anymore. And personally, I couldn't even find out what the breakdown was in their Q3 2021 report. Q4 2020, $282 million in sales. Q3 2021, $218. But the stock is up. Why? Well, why are investors bullish? Well, anytime Amazon wants to join forces with you, it is a big deal. And AWS is joined BlackBerry to innovate new intelligent vehicle data platform called BlackBerry Ivy. So I think the things to note here is it is a multi-year deal, and the big benefit for automakers and suppliers is they'll be getting a lot more data. It'll let developers, scale their OS across many manufacturers and update it and upgrade it very easily, which in turn will make the driver experience a lot more easier. I remember, your navigation system goes out of date within like 2 years of you buying your car, and then you got to go in there and go buy a new one. Well, they could just instantaneously update items like that due to their broader app developer community. And these automakers having all that access to data, they can understand that hey, it seems like our customers like X over Y, so maybe we should develop this feature more in more of our vehicles, and etc. Stuff like that. The crazy thing about this whole thing is no one really knows what the deal's worth, and no one knows how much it will boost BlackBerry's top line and bottom line. But like, the stock jumped 45% since that announcement. And I think you guys are ready for my rant. Are you guys ready for my rant? Maybe I'll save it. I'll go through my final thoughts, and then I'll go on my rant. Okay, so I'm going to go through some final thoughts and then my rant. Don't worry, best for last, I guess. Final thoughts, BlackBerry is targeting high demand areas. When you think of like cybersecurity and, vehicle intelligence, like, these are things that are just, they're not going to go down. They're going to grow over the next 10, 20, 30 years, hands down. Is BlackBerry going to be a leader in those divisions? I can't say for sure. One thing to note here is Forbes said the global security market is currently worth $173 billion, and it is going to grow to $270 billion by 2026. When I think of the global security market for BlackBerry, I think of their BlackBerry Spark segment, or their Silence segment, or their software services segment, whatever they want to call it on their damn annual report. But that in turn would mean that instead of $150 million a year, it'd be somewhere around $235 million if BlackBerry was apples to apples to this growth. As for what some analysts are saying, the stock's been downgraded by a couple big companies. Well, RBC is big for sure. They got a price target of about $11 a share. It's currently at $12 per share. And I think there is a lot of speculation going on here. And the reason I say that is I don't believe this is a value stock at all. I don't feel like, oh, wow, this is such a sweet deal that I'm getting. I think looking at BlackBerry's track records in sales and earnings, it's not jumping out of the page like, wow, this is a must buy. I put it's a sentiment stock rather than a value stock. You know, they get good news. The share price just goes up. That's just how this company has been performing over the last couple of years, or at least over the last 6 months for sure. And this is where my biggest rant is. If you know me, I like Peter Lynch, great investor. He talks about circle of competence. If you don't know how QNX works, if you don't know how Cylance works, if you don't use the products, should you be investing in BlackBerry? Like personally, yeah, I have a Subaru, and I know Subarus have the QNX system. But does that make me an expert in the QNX system? Does that make me feel comfortable about investing in BlackBerry? Personally, it doesn't. You know, I shared one of my favorite stocks in one of my videos, A&W. I eat the burgers. I understand the business. It's an easy buy for me there. But for BlackBerry, I'm staying out. But let me know in the comments below why you're so bullish on BlackBerry, or why you're bearish on BlackBerry. Maybe you just don't even like BlackBerry. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, if I helped explain in layman terms what they do and it helped you, please subscribe, please like the video. Let me know in the comments below what company you want me to take a look at. I got a bunch of companies to look at. Like, a lot of you have dropped comments, so I totally appreciate that. I appreciate the growth of this channel. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.